Welcome back to the Pesach 2022 sessions. We ended with session 2, part A. We continue now where we left off. Session 2, part B. The serpent system knows that God declares the end from the beginning. Therefore, he tried to stop us from leaving spiritual Egypt. He tried to keep you from celebrating Pesach, and he kept you inside Egypt in the Ishtar system. He tried to discourage you during the wilderness journey. You all know what I'm talking about. This has been since you've left spiritual Egypt and you've left all the sun god and moon goddess and star worship traditions behind, and you started realizing how deep and amazing the Torah is. The serpent has been trying to stop you at every step of the way, whether it was through your job that didn't want to allow you to take off on Sabbath so you don't have to work on Sabbath, or whether it was your family or your friends or society or church or even your own doubts and fears and misunderstandings. But along the way, the serpent has been trying to stop you during every step of the process from Egypt to Jerusalem. And don't you think his biggest effort is still lying ahead, because you've been able, through the power of Messiah Yeshua, you have been able to overcome all the previous temptations and problems and rocks that he have rolled in the way. He tried to stop you from crossing the Jordan. And here, at the brink of the Jordan, at the end of humanity's journey, at the close of the restoration process, the snake and his 6,000-year-old plan, he has it ready. His plan to take the whole world for himself, destroy all traces of Yahuwah from our minds, enslave us through our will to survive, deceive us into becoming one with a new order and forcing his mark on everyone with a cleverly devised plan to get access not only into your lives, but to get access into your very own DNA. And this is what we are talking about in these end days. How, when all his previous plans to stop us from this journey out of exile back to Eden, from our journey from the tree of knowledge back to the tree of life, in all his efforts to keep us at his tree and prevent us from going to the tree of life, he is doing this one final thing. And as Revelation prophesied, the whole world is wandering after him. And he's using an illness, and he's calling it the same as a very popular cider, interestingly enough, that people are drinking. You know what it's called, and the logo on that cider is a crown, because the name on that cider means crown. So that word means crown in Latin, in the etymology of the evolution of the word, and as well as the word virus, comes from Latin, and it means that word that I'm rather not going to say. I don't want the algorithms to identify all these words together and then have a problem with these sessions. So you can see clearly from the original etymology, from the original meaning of the words can be thrown onto your TV screens, into your newspapers, onto every lamppost, for all intents and purposes of what they want you to believe what it is. But if you know the hidden meaning of the beautiful jots and tittles and the mystery behind the Hebrew original, and sometimes even the Greek original of your scriptures, and you know how much that breaks open so much deeper levels of understanding of the real intentions and the real truths, not as the church wants you to understand the Bible, then you can just expect that the serpent will do the same. The serpent is a copycat of everything God has. And therefore the serpent has the tree of knowledge of good and evil, just like Yahuwah had the tree of life. And from the tree of life, we eat the fruit of life, and we get the seed inside of us, which is the words of God. And therefore, when we disobey the words of God, and we spit out the seeds from the tree of life, and we start eating the fruit from the serpent's tree, we start eating his words, and that's all he wants. He just wants to get the opportunity to plant his seed inside of you. He planted his words inside of humanity the moment Adam and Eve ate the fruit. He started planting the whole fallen angel system seed inside humanity in Genesis 6. And that experiment and that proceedings is being resurrected in these last couple of decades. And he's still trying that same old plan to plant his seed. And now, this time, it starts getting physical. Because humanity has been eating his words for the last 6,000 years anyway. It is the odd one here and there that is coming out of the deception of the tree of knowledge and comes back to the truth. But most of humanity is eating from the tree of knowledge and has the seed of the serpent inside of them. And that's why the Bible can predict that all the world will wander after the beast and take his mark. And we're not saying this thing is his mark. We are showing you the gateway, the babel, the gateway in how the end time Antichrist will stand up after he has brought the whole world into subjection and slavery. Just like we explained in the previous session how Egypt brought Israel into slavery, slowly but surely over time, like a frog slowly cooking to death in a pot with increasingly intense heat, from cold to hot, not in an instant, but in a process. Everything is a process. God has a process, but so does the serpent. So the etymology of these two words, when you put them together, we know that it's a king that wears a crown. And how will the serpent become king? How will the serpent become crowned? Somebody had a dream apparently a couple of weeks ago, just before the Pesach celebration. She had a dream about the Antichrist being crowned. And she never knew this word actually means crown. So it's the serpent king will be crowned. And he's getting crowned here at the brink of the Jordan River, at the end times, at the birth pangs of the end times. Of course, it has to, because it's prophesied. If all humans has his venom, this other word, I think I can do a bit of a highlight. Let me see. I don't think I've tried this before. All right, so if that word now, if all humans has this, his venom, in their bloodstream, they will bow to him, eat his fruits, and obey his words. Or actually to say that their solution to this problem. So through this problem, he has the authority as king to inject you with his venom. Because this is not a natural thing anyway. There's millions of hours of research into that. And then the thing that they want to zap you with afterwards is also obviously not of natural origin, but it has the venom of this king. And I'm not saying it's his name. I'm saying this is the gateway of his system that he's bringing into this world at this stage. And it didn't take this end time Antichrist king, quick to just work out this whole plan. He had 6,000 years. He had since the beginning to work out his plans, keeping an eye on God and all God's plans, and keeping an eye on Yeshua, and keeping an eye very closely on everything. And therefore we can actually see how this plan is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. To bring in the gateway that will get the whole world to not only bow and worship the image of the beast, but also to take his mark, to open the gateway for this with something that seems to be a danger to you. And if you do not start on this journey towards the mark of the beast, you will put your own health and your family's health and the people around you's health in danger. So, no wonder he was the, angel that was covering Yahuwah's mercy seat in heaven. He is very, very deceiving and clever. So that word that you see all over the place means the serpent king's venom. That means crown, and that means venom. And of course, this is the system that promises you salvation against the serpent king's venom. And they are not bringing you salvation. They are just injecting you with even more of the cleverly devised venom that is mixed with so many things that it really takes hours and hours, hundreds and hours of your research to get to the bottom of what they are busy with in this end stretch at the Jordan River. Alright, so once the king has forced all the world to take his mark, all people will submit under his authority, because the kings of the world will hand over all power to him, as per Revelation 17 verse 12. And of course, all these kings of the world that we can see also in Psalm 2, they are doing his bidding now, and they're preparing the world for his takeover. This is Nimrod resurrected. This is Nephilim resurrected. This is the Antichrist serpent. Pharmakia, which means sorcery. These are the sorcerers of Egyptian and Babylon. This is the one-eyed sun god that has been represented in biblical figures since the beginning. These are the giants that has been resurrected from forgotten history. Biblical giants. So this is the National Harbour. It's a 72-foot long statue in St. George's County, Maryland, United States, just outside the District of Columbia. And if you haven't done your research on the District of Columbia, into the occult and the architecture of the District of Columbia, you haven't scratched the surface yet of what we are dealing with here. So this statue is called The Awakening, already built in 1980. And just to give an idea of how huge this statue is, and it's depicting a giant that is trying to rise out from the grave. Very, very telling. This is the plan of the Antichrist, the Anti-King, in the place of false Messiah, to finally here at the brink of the Jordan River be the ruler of the kingdom and have all humans worship him as if he is God. 2 Thessalonians 2:3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away, and that is in Greek apostasia, not rapture. The day of the Antichrist will not come before the apostasia first, and then that man of sin shall be revealed. And this serpent king that is awakening and standing up from out of the shadows and standing up from the false image people has of him, that he's a bad thing and he's going to rise up to be a good thing, and the whole world will follow him. But they will only follow him once they have been apostates, once they have turned away from Yahuwah. Why will so many people turn away from Yahuwah? Why will they abandon Yahuwah and follow the man of sin, or the Antichrist, or the beast, or the instead of Messiah? They will become apostate to him because, first of all, their dominees have told them they will be raptured before the beast is revealed. And because they are not raptured before the beast is revealed, therefore they will lose their faith and their trust in God and the church and their dominees, and they will fall away from God and they will follow the beast. Because when the end time tribulations come and Jacob's trouble come, and people are not raptured like they have been falsely promised, it's not biblical. Go to the Two Trees YouTube channel and listen, do the intense Bible study about the rapture so that you can understand. So the man of sin will be worshipped as if he is God. He opposes himself and exalts himself above all that is called God and that is worshipped, so that he sits as if he is God in the temple. He sits in the physical temple. I do believe there will be a physical temple, absolutely. But of course, he's also going to do it. The Bible, everything is spiritual and physical. Everything has more than just one level. Don't just look at one thing. Make up your mind about what it means and then stick to that. Because one person sees it on a spiritual level, the other person sees it on a physical level, and you're both right. That's the problem. We need to stop fighting and quarreling, and we need to understand all the levels. So he's going to sit in the spiritual temple first. And then when he sits in the physical temple, everybody is going to worship him as if he is God. Because by that time, he's already the crowned king with his venom inside of you. You're eating from his words. You think he's the angel of light. You think he's the next best thing to sliced bread. And you've abandoned God because Jesus didn't come to rapture you like the pastors promised. So it's going to be easy for him. We choose another crown. We choose another king. Because this road out of Egypt to Jerusalem is a road of affliction. And not a road of easy going like the rest of the world. The world belongs to this enemy of Yahuwah. Has belonged to him since we gave rulership over to him. Genesis 1, Genesis 3, we gave the rulership God gave to us, we gave to him. And Yeshua didn't deny that the enemy of Yahuwah has ownership of this world. Matthew 4:9, Satan said, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. And Yeshua said, it's written that you must serve Yahuwah alone and that you shall not serve anybody else. He didn't say, Satan, what you talking about, man? The kingdoms belong to me. The kingdoms of the world belongs to him. That's why he was able to tell Yeshua that he can give it to him. And we can talk about this verse for the next 3 hours. Let's not go down another path. Let's finish this. And this should, of course, be our response too. He can give us the nice white fluffy bread of this world. He can give us the kingdoms of this world. He can promise us that we will not lose our jobs and our kids will not be thrown out of universities, colleges and schools if we just take his venom. And we should say, go away, Satan. It is written, you shall worship Yahuwah, your Elohim, and him alone shall you serve. We cannot serve under the tree of knowledge. We cannot take the venom inside of ourselves. We cannot allow mRNA technology manipulation. Not accepting all their plans and technology and pharmakia means sorceries and systems here at the brink of the end. Because whenever Paul talks about the merchants of the world that is deceiving people with their sorceries. When you read that in the Greek, it is the merchants, the traders, the rich men, the big pharma and big corporations and big banks of this world that is deceiving the world with their sorcery, their pharmakia. So a 6,000-year-old plan to get into our DNA using money as a tool. Money is his tool to convince us to allow him to change our DNA so that these systems can be put in place and so that you cannot buy or sell if you are not part of the systems. The serpent knows that God declares the end from the beginning. The end, how it is here, how we will pay like this. In the end, we're going to tap, tap. Can your card tap? No, it can't. I don't believe in tapping. Do you believe in tapping? Oh, no, ma'am, I don't. Why? The Bible says we are going to pay with something else than money in the future. And there's going to be something in our hand with which we can pay with. Exactly. Are you a Bible believer? I don't read my Bible a lot, ma'am. Okay, here's some CDs for you. Here's a pamphlet for you. Here's a Bible for you. Do you want to join our Bible study group? This is one of the best ways to start witnessing these days. Every time you are asked to tap, tap, you start this conversation. So, because we're going to be tapping, tiptoeing at the end of times with something that will be implanted right into the biometrics of our skins. Because he just like God declares the end from the beginning, Satan knows this. So at the end, his plans will be the very same as at the beginning, when the Tower of Babel and the Egyptian sun god system, because when you go down deep into ancient mythology, you'll find out Nimrod was indeed a pharaoh as well. King of Babylon, king of Egypt, king of many nations, having many names. This whole giant world rulership system will use money, will use your survival as his gateway into forcing you to take on his mark. So Agenda 2030 here at the end of time is rooted in the ancient agenda that Pharaoh and Nimrod and the serpent and Nebuchadnezzar and all of these guys had since the beginning. We can see that the end is revealed from the beginning. We have two gods. We have the false one and the true one. We have the false set of rules and the true set of rules. We have the false prophets and the true prophets. And we can see the false prophet and all his signs and symbols. We can see it out of the beginning. It's no different here at the end. We can see how this system has been grooming. Not talking about Disney's grooming. That's something totally different. But part of the same plan. But how the world has been groomed by the serpent system to worship his rulers. And we can see even in the symbolism, out of the beginning, out of ancient beginnings, we can see how the same symbols are still in charge and still manipulating and still forcing your enslavement here at the end. But I'm Yahuwah, your Elohim, who will bring you out of your enslavement. There are very fascist, very many different government systems that carry the same signs and symbols that is still permeating the current system in the world, run by the same kings and rulers in the world. The serpent in the beginning is the serpent king, who is in the Egyptian king since the beginning, in the Babylonian king since the beginning, in the political tyranny kings still today. the same power since the Tree of Knowledge episode. And without bowing to him and taking his venom and being plugged into his new world system, you will not be able to buy or sell. You will not be able to function. And it's here, on the brink, where we see the serpent's method.
What underpins a world order is always the financial system. How very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. It also raises huge dangers in terms of the balance of power between states and citizens. In my opinion, we're going to need a digital constitution of human rights if we're going to have digital money. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.
So this new system controls every citizen and forces every citizen of the world to take the mark. Otherwise, they cannot buy or sell. Don't give up the faith. Take the mark of God's covenant and start doing 2 trees in the garden, Bible studies. Go back to the 2 trees in the Garden of Eden and start understanding the end from the beginning. This guy, he says, we will become gods. His name is Mr. Harari, and he is the World Economic Forum's advisor. He is one of the top advisors of the world. And we have to understand who this guy is. He is, of course, a Jew, and the Bible does talk about the Jews that call themselves Jews, but they are not. They are from the synagogue of Satan. In Genesis 3 verse 4, the serpent said, "You shall not surely die, but your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods." So, Jewish Pharisees, who opposes everything that God's kingdom is about, and who, under the guise of being the chosen nation of God, under the guise of being angels of light, they will be advising the world economic powers. He's not really advising them. The world economic powers has groomed him. Maybe Disney grooming starts making more and more sense now. These people has been groomed even before their birth. Anyway, it's a long story. But these people are saying exactly the same thing. See how God declares the end from the beginning. See how Satan uses that same thing. His end will be the same as his beginning. His promises at the end is the same. For heaven's sakes, it is word for word the same as from the beginning. We will become gods. He says in the end. His master says, in the beginning, you'll be as gods. There is no change. And if people can't wake up to this reality soon, they will become the enslaved, what is the right word? Poisoned, useless eaters. They are being branded as. That needs to be eliminated until the 10 commandments of the New World Order written on the Georgian Guidestones become reality.
Crisis. And certainly surveillance can help us do that, but it should be done carefully.
Oh, this is a book that you need to read.
This is a kind of watershed event when surveillance is really spreading everywhere. And secondly, we are seeing a change in the nature of surveillance from over-the-skin surveillance to under-the-skin surveillance, which means over-the-skin is things that I do, where I go, who I meet, what I watch on television. And we know that for years, corporations and governments have been developing the abilities, the technological tools to monitor what we do. And this gives them a lot of insight about our political views, about our preferences, even about our personality. But what's happening now is that surveillance begins to go under the skin. Not just what you do, but also how you feel. At present, it is of course focused on the disease itself. In order to know whether you are sick, the system needs data about what's happening inside your body. Your body temperature, maybe your blood pressure, maybe your heart rate, things like that. First of all, yes, we need to monitor people if they are sick, but it shouldn't be done by the police or the security services, so it can't be used for other purposes. If you want to monitor people, establish an independent healthcare authority or agency which is tasked just with this, just with stopping the epidemic, and doesn't share the data it collects with anybody else. Not with the police, not with your boss, not with your insurance agency. Revolution. And COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize.
COVID is critical because we're going to take away your privacy. We're going to jack you with an operating system that will tie you to the Internet of Things.
Total biometric surveillance.
Oh, no, it's not.
If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to
fear. We need fear. So take this vaccine that actually changes your DNA so you're no longer human and no longer have human rights. That's what he's saying.
Monitor people. We need to monitor what's happening under their skin. Since so far, it's corporations and governments collecting data about where we go, who we meet, what movies we watch. The next is the surveillance going under our skin. Surveillance systems established even in democratic countries, which previously rejected them, and we also see a change in the nature of surveillance. Previously, surveillance was mainly above the skin. Now it's going under the skin. Governments want to know not just where we go or who we meet. Above all, they want to know what is happening under our skin. Developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods, the power to re-engineer life. Humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. In Israel, they closed down the synagogues. In Iran, they closed the mosques. Churches all over the world are telling people don't come to church. The Pope is doing all these ceremonies on Zoom or YouTube. And why do they do all this? Because the scientists recommended it. Even the religious leaders have trust in the scientists. We need some kind of global loyalty and global identity. We count thousands and thousands of data points, each with a very small weight. And if you ask why the algorithm rejected my request for a loan, so the bank can print out millions of pages of data and tell you that's why. The algorithm went over all this and calculated that you are not creditworthy. And our minds just can't understand this type of decision-making. And it can be on a personal level. It can also be on the level of an entire country. That to decide whether to raise or lower interest rate, for example. It will not be done by a human banker or finance minister. It will be done by an AI.
AI enslavement at the brink of the giant's new world order to deceive the whole world in plugging into the smart grid system, controlled and monitored and conditioned to accept the new normal and all other future changes up to the point of accepting the one world system, including one world digital currency, religion, government, and ultimately the one world leader. Alright, so we see how the serpent king's venom is giving the excuse and the reason for all these new systems to be put in place. And while the world is eating the nice white fluffy bread and chasing the Easter bunnies and keeping the Sunday dawn service, we keep Pesach. Religion keeps Ishtar. We eat pierced flat unleavened bread. The world eats up all the rotten eggs and the serpent's venom of deception and control and submission, which of course is so deep. It has been taught to us both levels of religious and pharmaceutical and government control and deception since the beginning. It's so clever, as I said, that we have believed the lies and eaten the rotten eggs, and we have disregarded the unleavened bread because we didn't know what it means. We are on the brink of the fourth revolution, the industrial revolution, the new normal, the new world order, the new Babylon. Or is it new? I've just shown you it's the same as from the beginning. We're on the brink. And the question is, are you tired already? Or are you now becoming ready? Joshua 3:4, yet there shall be a space between you and the ark, that you may know the way by which you must go. God will help us because He knows that we have not done anything like this end time battle before. He sends the ark in front of us because He knows that we need guidance on this way that we need to go. Because we have not passed this way before. We have never encountered something like this before. God commissions Joshua, chapter 1. He assumes command. They cross the Jordan, chapter 3. The 12 memorial stones is put up, chapter 4. The new generation gets circumcised, chapter 5. The first Passover is in the promised land. And Joshua meets the commander of Yahweh's army. Then they've got the 7 days of unleavened bread. The 7 days that they walk around Jericho. And then in chapter 6, Jericho falls. And Rahab and her family is saved. Can you see the process of Pesach? Can you see the proceedings of one step following the other? We have to remain faithful in Egypt while Yahuwah's plagues are falling. Think about this not only in ancient history, but in your life here today in 2022. We have to remain faithful in Egypt while Yahuwah's plagues are falling. In the end times, there will be the same plagues as in Egypt. And there was 10 in Egypt. 3 of them they suffered, but the last 7 did not touch them. And therefore we only have the last 7 plagues in the book of Revelation. That God will be with us. We will not be raptured and be safe from the plagues. We'll be in this world while the plagues fall, but we will be protected. We are coming out of Egypt, not only out of the sun god religion, but we also will come out of world dictatorship in the end. Come out of her, my people, means so much more than just stopping to bow before a Christmas tree and eating Ishtar eggs. We have to follow Moses through the wilderness. We have to learn from Moses, the books of Moses. We have to learn covenant obedience through the wilderness. We have to follow Joshua into battle with the giants. We have to learn to trust Yeshua in the battle with the end-time Canaanite kings of the world. We have to teach Rahab about the scarlet sign. And that means we have to become a disciple, a witness, a priestly warrior that can teach the adulterous wife, the whoring bride, the one that Yeshua had to drink the bitter cup for. We have to go out and witness and be a disciple, bringing this good news of salvation with Yahuwah's right arm out of Egypt. We need to bring the blood of the lamb, the red blood, the red rope hanging from Rahab's window. We have to teach Rahab to hang the red rope outside her window so that she can be saved while the rest of the world is dying in the judgment of God, and Jericho's walls are falling, and she's the only one, she and her family, that is saved. We then pass over or cross over the Jordan River. And for that we need to be covenant obedient, to not only keep the Passover but understand the crossover, Hebrew, Ivrit. And we can only overcome when we submit to the God who teaches us about the Passover and the Ivrit. He said to Abraham, cross over the river, come out of the land of Chaldea, come to a land that I will show you. Cross over the river that I will show you. We put up the memorial stones, just like in Joshua 4. That is the law and the testimony, the stones on which the testimony is written. And the testimony testifies of everything that God has done for us, like the law written on stones is a testimony against us. We put up the memorial stones. We raise up the law and the testimony again out of forgotten, ancient, rejected history. That the same people who promises you a rapture and who serves you Ishtar eggs and Christmas trees, they have abandoned the memorial stones. You cross the Jordan River and you bring out the memorial stones and you write the law and testimony on it. On the hearts, on the stones, or what does that verse say? On the tablets, not only of the tablets of the Torah tablets of stone, but on the tablets of your heart. Then Israel got circumcised. The raised up generation that came out of the wilderness got circumcised. That means to obey and take the seal of the covenant. You do it with your heart first and then with your flesh. Then they kept the Passover, like we do this year and the next, until we do it finally in Jerusalem. Then Joshua met the commander of the army. Go read this whole procession that I gave you on the previous slide. Joshua 1 to Joshua 6. It is amazing. Now we get to know your Messiah more and more. Here at the brink of the Jordan River, you get to know him, not only know of him, but you get to meet him. And then you follow the patterns of the sevens. Because just like us, they also follow the seasons and the prophecies of all 7 feasts. Not only the 7 days of unleavened bread that took them around Jericho for 7 days, but learning all the cycles of 7, the 7th day Sabbath, and all 7 feasts. Under Joshua's command, and Joshua is under the commander of the army, of course, under his command, the enemy is destroyed. And just like that, we will see how the Lion of the tribe of Judah destroys the enemy in the end days, because Joshua is a messianic shadow picture of Yeshua. Rahab gets saved in chapter 6, and we will see how the commander of the army will save others through our testimony. And the promise of Yahuwah to Abraham is finally fulfilled. He made it hundreds of years ago. He said to Abraham, I will return you to this land. I will return your seed to this land. I will give this land to you and your seed as an everlasting covenant. And although the seed of Israel will be scattered across the length and width of this earth into the four corners of this earth, to the north, south, east, and west of this world. And those things are not the same, by the way, just for interest's sake. But as God said, He will scatter all Abraham's seed across this world. He will gather them again. And He will bring them back to the land that He has promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We shall also then enter into the kingdom, because it has been prophesied, and it has been covenanted, and it has been promised. Do you see the pattern of Pesach? Not only the Pesach in Egypt when we came out, but also the Pesach at the Jordan River when we came back in. I'll bring you out, I'll deliver you from slavery, I'll redeem you with an outstretched arm, and I will take you to be my people. Don't get tired already. We are still in Egypt. Get ready. Don't get tired already. Get ready, because there is still a long way ahead. Alright, this is Israel on the map. And you can see where Israel is. I just want to show you not the way that we believe the world map should look like, because this is not the way, but that's another story. We just want to show you the direction. So Israel is here in the middle east. In the middle east. Yahuwah will fulfill all His promises. See how many times He showed us that He will fulfill His promises. Abram came to the promised land. Jacob, or Israel, returned to the promised land. Israel came out of Egypt back to the promised land. The bones of Joseph returned to the promised land. And if you don't understand the bones of Joseph, very important that you understand Ephraim and Manasseh, the bones of Joseph. There's so many things there. Please do the 2 trees Bible studies. Judah, after their exile to Babylon, came back to the promised land. And so the house of Israel, that is scattered currently into every tribe, nation, and tongue, will be brought back to the promised land. Messiah will rule and reign in the promised land. And finally, Yahuwah Himself will return to the promised land, to Jerusalem, not any other city or town near you. Revelation 21, and I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from Yahuwah out of heaven. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle, the house of Yahuwah, the tent of Yahuwah is with men. The city of Yahuwah is with men, and He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people, and Yahuwah shall be with them and be their God. Do you see the fulfillment of the promise? I will bring you out, I will deliver you, I will redeem you, and I will take you to be my people. They shall be His people. As the beginning, so is the end. And the end is in the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from Yahuwah out of heaven. We are not going up to Him. Yahuwah shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things, all the things from the beginning, would have passed away. Don't become tired. Finish the race. Endure to the end. Return to Jerusalem with Joshua and the rest of your brothers and sisters of Israel. This is where Israel is, physically, on the world map. Towards the west, we've got the whole Americas, the United States. We've got Europe. We've got Africa. We've got the whole Western world. And then on the east, of course, we have the Eastern world, all the ancient civilizations, whereas the Western world is the modern civilizations. So to go west is to go away from Jerusalem. Can you see that physically on your map? And to go east is to go back to Jerusalem, physically on your map. Because most of Christianity today is seated in the west. So right here, in the Middle East, in the eastern part, towards the east of the Western world, is where the brink of the Jordan River is. It's where we have to cross over. It's where the promised land is. It's where God created the Garden of Eden from the beginning, and it's where God will return out of heaven at the end. This is our end time destination. To the western side, we've got the ocean, the sea. Can you see the ocean and the sea and the waters? That's directly to the west. Remember on the map I showed you the western world is to the west, right? So what does the west symbolize? To the west you've got the ocean, the sea, or you've got many waters. Revelation 17:1. Come, I'll show you the sentencing of the great whore, the prostitute, the whore of Babylon, that deceives the whole world, that's riding the beast. She's the church. She's the whoring church that deceives the whole world together with the Antichrist. She sits on many. Do you see that? She sits on many waters. She sits towards the west. She's pulling people away towards the beast and not towards the east. Wow, I just thought about that now. This whore with the wine of the doctrine in the cup of her wine. She's pulling people, the whole world, since the beginning, towards the beast, while Yeshua pulls us back towards the east, not the beast. She sits on many waters because many waters symbolizes people, multitudes, and nations and languages. So all the peoples and the multitudes and the nations and the languages, the world's people, the world's nations, the whole world system is symbolized by the waters. And the waters is towards the west of Jerusalem. And remember, Yeshua taught his disciples to fish out of water. We have to catch God's fishes, and we have to pull them out of the many fishes of the ocean. There's many fish in the sea. But the fishes of God must be pulled out by the disciples. 153 fish is pulled out by the disciples on the right side of the boat, not the left side. Lots of symbolism in that. But anyway, the west is physically the oceans, representing all the Western world, the nations, the multitudes, the whole modern world, all the peoples. Mark 2 verse 13, Yeshua went out to the sea, and the whole crowd kept coming to him, and he continued to teach them. So Yeshua went out to the sea, towards the west, and the multitudes, the crowds, kept coming to him. He went to them, to the west, to go and teach them, so that he can draw them back east. So towards the east, we have the whore of Babylon that rules all the nations. Yeshua goes out to the nations to draw them back east. Sea or ocean or these many waters in Hebrew is Yam. And guess what Yam means? Besides meaning the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, the Dead Sea, the Nile River, or the sea, the great basin in the temple court that you wash your filth from. You have to wash all your dirt and rubbish from in the sea, in the basin, in the temple court. You have to wash yourself clean as you come into the temple court. Interesting, ne? But Yam, the Hebrew word for sea, also carries the meaning of west or westwards. So not only is the oceans representing the people of the world, not only is it physically towards the west of Jerusalem, but also the name of the oceans, Yam, physically means west. Isn't this amazing? And it will become more clear where I'm going to with this. Just stick with me. So to go west, life is peaceful there. Go west. I'm going to show you that song just now. So to go west means to go away from Jerusalem. It means to go into the Babylonian prostitutes' Western world of the false church that rules the nations away from the promised land. All right, so we have the east. So when you're in the west, you need to return and come back east. East, Jerusalem is east of the Western world, east of the many waters. Do you see? Physically and spiritually, Jerusalem, Israel, is east of the many waters where the whore is sitting. Even in the Hebrew, east is the Hebrew word kedem, kedam, and kedem means east. Can you see? It is amazing. And east carries the deep-rooted real meaning. It's not only talking about a direction. It's talking about the ancient paths. It's talking about that which was before, that which was from the beginning. To come back east is to return to the beginning, to return to that which was before time, to return to that which is the ancient paths, and not the new world order path, the modern ways, but the old ways, the eastern ways. Kedem, come back towards Jerusalem. From of old, from of earliest time, Kedem, anciently, Kedem, of old, Kedem, east, beginning, east, eastwards or towards the east. So to go back east, to go Kedem, is to go back to Jerusalem physically, return to the ancient paths physically and spiritually. Return to the house of God, return to Jerusalem, return to the promised land, return to the Garden of Eden, return to the beginning, like the prodigal son returned out of the pigsty back to his father's house. Out of the Western world's pigsties, back to the Eastern, ancient, true paths that is the same since the beginning. So on the west, we've got the horde of Babylon riding the beast. On the east, we go back to Jerusalem. Revelation 18, come out of her, come out of the west, my people, that you don't partake of her sins and that you don't receive her plagues. The prodigal son comes out of his whoring, out of the west, out of his riotous living the good life in Hollywood. Father, I'm tired of this farm life. I want to go there where the city lights are shining. I don't want to go on these ancient, boring, eastern, old towns. I want to live the good life. I want to go there where the music never stops. And he got there, and his friends used and abused him until his money was gone. And then he ended up in the pigsty, and he longed to come back to his father's house. Because east is better. No matter what this world or the serpent or Hollywood or your university education is teaching you, return east. Don't go west. Come out of Egypt. Come out of the western regions of Egypt. Travel east, back to the beginning, to the truth, back to remembering your God. And Yahuwah planted a garden in Genesis 2 verse 8 eastwards. He didn't plant the garden westwards. He planted the garden eastwards in Eden. Jeremiah 6:16. Stand in all the ways of the west and ask for the Kedem paths, the eastern paths, the old paths. Where is the good way? That is the good way, the Kedem, the east, the old, the original paths. Return to that. Exodus 6, I'll bring you out from the west. I'll deliver you from the west. I'll redeem you from the west. I'll take you back east. Go east, go home. God will take us back. This is the process and the proceedings from creation. Then we got separated. We were scattered into the west. Yeshua, the blood of the Lamb, redeems us from our scattering and our separation, and He restores us and brings us back east. Walk on the Torah road, the ancient way, back to the promised land, so you can be restored back to the original creation. Don't become tired with the foot soldiers already. The journey has just begun. The world has gone west, and they're eating their rotten Easter eggs and their nice white fluffy bread, while we are eating unleavened bread. They've gone west to the Western civilizations where the whore of Babylon is sitting on the beast. To the modern age, to excitement, to the USA, to Hollywood, to comfortable sun god religion of the whore of Babylon, in front of whom all the other religious leaders in the world bows down, believing the false promises of the serpent that you'll be as gods again and again and again and again. Come on, 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 come on. Together we will go our way. Together we will leave someday. Together, your hand in my hands. Together we will make our plans. Together we will fly so high. Together, tell all our friends goodbye. Goodbye, God. I'm going west. Oh yeah, and the reason I'm singing this, not that I think I've got a good voice, if I play the song, YouTube will block my video because the song has copyright. Together we will start life new. Look at the pictures. Together, this is what we're gonna do. Go west in the open air. Go west where the skies are blue. Go west. This is what we're gonna do. There where the air is free, we'll be what we want to be. Now, if we make a stand, I wonder against whom? We'll find our promised land. Do you see how they promise? The false promised land. If you go west, don't go east. We will stand against that one that is trying to pull us back east. I'll show you. They say it in the song. There are many ways. No, they're not. There's only the Kedem way, the ancient way, the only way back to God. To live in the sun or shade, together we will find a place to settle where there's so much space without rush and the pace back east. See how they're saying, let's go west to settle there. Let us not go back east. Can you see how the serpent's language is permeating through everything in the Western world? Without rush and the pace back east, the hustling, rustling just to feed. I know I'm ready to leave too. So that's what we are gonna do. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on this way. Don't worry that God said you can't eat from the tree of knowledge. Come on, Eve. Come on, Adam. Taste my fruit. You'll be as gods. You will not die. your eyes shall be opened. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Go west, sun in winter time. I'm promising you sun in winter time. Looking at the global, I'm just going to say that whole thing is another massive deception. Sun in the winter time, go west, we will feel just fine. Yeah, the serpent said that also. Go west, where the skies are blue. Go west, this is what we're gonna do. But we are returning east to our Creator east. Yeah, let me not try and do stuff I'm not talented to do. And this was the only way to remind you of a song that you've heard your whole life and you never understood what the message was. I just want to play you. Thank you to the people at Tavalingwe, Dries and Santi. They actually reminded me of this song as well. And I can't play it again because of copyright, but hopefully you will recognize it now. I was born and raised in the ghetto. Talk with me and you'll know. It's all about going back west. Yes, I know I'll make it out all right. Going back west, where my music's playing all night. Going back west, I think I'll do all right. I apologize for my singing. But this is all about a guy who met a businessman who said he had some friends back east. So why don't you come along, man? And we can help you at least. So this is all about this man who went to the east and he couldn't find the promises that, he wanted. He didn't become the big star that he wanted. So he rather chose to go back west because that's where his dreams can get fulfilled. He doesn't like the dreams of the businessman of the east. All right, we are almost done. 2 minutes. We are returning back to our Creator. We are returning to the promised land, returning to the covenant where the garden and the tree of life is. We are turning back east. The rest of the world going back west. We are returning to the ancient paths. The rest of the world is not interested. Let us be found faithful and committed in this journey upriver, while the rest of the dead fish flow downstream. Let us not give up, even when everybody else falls down and the whole world wanders after the beast and all the world takes his mark. Are you tired already, or are you getting ready now? I'll bring you out from the west. Come out of her. I'll take you back to myself and make you my people. Into